Hey there, adventurous souls. It's me, Janet. If you have been considering a move to Utah, I am here to talk to you about why moving to Utah might just be a mistake. Even though US News and World Report both rank Utah as the #1 state to live, and that's been for the past 3 years in a row. So get ready to embrace the strange and wonderful charm of Utah, or not. Stick with me as I break down the top 9 reasons why Utah is uniquely quirky and how it will affect your lifestyle if you do decide to make a move to Utah. In previous videos, I gave a map tour and a vlog tour of different cities near Salt Lake City, Utah. These videos have hidden gems and they have visuals introducing you to different neighborhoods, and they show you samples of different price points as well. So if what you hear today doesn't scare you off, you will want to take a look at some of my favorite cities in Utah. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Salt Lake City, Utah, then subscribe below, tap the bells for notification so that you can be the first to know about the current market in Salt Lake City, Utah, and the surrounding suburbs. My name is Janet with Living in Salt Lake City. We get calls and emails every day from people just like you looking for help to make a move to Salt Lake City, Utah, and surrounding suburbs. And we absolutely love it. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. My information is in the description below so that we can help you make a smooth move to Salt Lake City, Utah, and the surrounding suburbs. Let's get started with a fun fact about Utah. So fun fact, the name Utah derives from the name of the Ute tribe, meaning people of the mountains. Utah is the 13th largest state in the United States. The area of Utah is 84,897 square miles. The interesting thing is that 80% of Utah's population is concentrated in the Wasatch Front. This is in the northern part of the state. Utah's population is just under 3,455,000 people. The growth represents an 18.4% increase since 2010, which is the fastest growing state in the nation. Utah is also known for being a member of the Four Corners. This means that people can potentially stand in 4 states at the same time. Utah is bordered by Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. These are the states that make up the Four Corners. There's a monument at the Four Corners, and it makes a great photo op. Utah also is bordered by Idaho, Wyoming, and Nevada. So let's start with the quirky side of Utah. Here are 9 reasons why living in Utah might just make you say, well, that's different. Okay, concern number 1 is the high Mormon population. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints continues to have a significant presence in Utah, which influences everything from local culture to the number of church buildings that you'll see. It is common to see pictures of Jesus in homes, stores, and sometimes even at Costco where they will sell them. So, what percent of Utah are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? From a recent article in the Deseret News, it says, roughly speaking, about 1/3 of the population of Utah are active Latter-day Saints. 1/3 are inactive members, and 1/3 are not members at all. So the definition of an inactive member is someone who once participated in the religion, but no longer does. And these inactive members mostly do not associate themselves as being members anymore. The active members are the ones who will meet on Sundays to hear sermons. Some will have family nights on Mondays. They will participate in youth programs and have weekly activities for the youth as well. So don't be surprised when you have a flyer on your door asking for your food donations for the local food pantry, or someone comes by and asks for your old shoes to donate to other countries. In Utah, it is not uncommon to hear conversations about religion. If this is a deal breaker for you, Utah is a bad choice to live. So concern number 2 is community and your social life. Building a new social circle can be daunting, but Utahns are known for their hospitality. With so many community events and groups, you'll find it easy to make new friends.
But if you can't stand children or pets, Utah is not the place for you. 27.6% of Utah's population is under 18 years old, which is the highest in the nation. According to the Kim Garn Policy Institution, it predicts that Utah's school-age population will grow by 15% between 2020 and 2060, while the state's total population expectation is to increase by 66%. Utah is currently the youngest state. The average size of family in Utah is 3.5 people, which is the largest in any state. The average age or median age is 32 in Utah. 58.5% of Utah households own pets as well. 36% of that is dogs. 24% of that are cats. So the golden doodle is actually the most common dog in Utah. Utah law limits 3 of a pet. So any combination of cats and dogs, but no more than 3 in a resident. So I will tell you that there are people who just don't listen to that. I had a neighbor who moved in several years ago and they had 9 cats. It was pretty insane. I guess that they started with 1 cat, then they added another cat so their cat wasn't lonely, and then they ended up with 7 kittens. But they couldn't bear the thought of separating them, so they kept them all. There was also like the smallest of them, this little kitty, and she was just like dying for attention. Anytime she saw you, she ran over and wanted to be petted. But regardless, I find that 9 cats next door was a little excessive. They have since moved on, so it's no longer a problem. But pets can be a big concern when you're buying and selling a home as well. They're part of the family, and their well-being is always part of the moving process. So one time I was showing a house, and the minute I opened the door, the dog went flying out. My buyers and I chased it all over the neighborhood. We finally caught him and put him back inside the house. It was exhausting. It took us over 20 minutes, and then it made us late for the rest of our showings. So I sent a nice text to the listing agent and let her know what happened. Sheesh. So I received a text back and it said, "What dog? They don't have a dog." Apparently, the agent showing the house before us had let the neighborhood dog in, didn't say anything, and went about their day. Here in Utah, it has become quite common for your dogs to accompany you wherever you go. If you are someone who likes to keep to themselves, you are going to be put way out of your comfort zone, because it's not uncommon for folks to start up a conversation with you in the grocery store. In fact, pretty much in any line, anywhere. So plan on a conversation with the nearest stranger. You might just have a small child or a dog at your feet during the whole interaction as well. I do have some brilliant tips for you if you want to avoid any and all of these awkward conversations. So, trick number 1, you could pretend that you don't speak English. The phrase that you could use is simply shrug your shoulders and repeat the phrase, "No hablo inglés." Look confused. I'm sure it will work. It doesn't matter your appearance. The less Hispanic you look, the better it will work. The confusion in the stranger's mind will stun them into silence. When they finally stop talking, make eye contact with them. Smile, shrug your shoulders. This way, you won't make any enemies. Another tactic is to put in ear pods. And when someone approaches you, shrug, point to your ear pods, then say, "Oh, yeah, I understand." This way, it'll make them think that you're listening intently to someone on a call. Then you can give them an apologetic look and walk away. If you can't walk away, make sure you continue to nod your head and say, yeah, that's right. Or even just, Soon, they will be deep in conversation with someone else and they will completely forget that you're even there. So if these 2 gentle approaches are not your personality, there is one surefire way to get a Utahn to stop talking to you. That is, get angry, explode, use explicit language. A few choice words will send them running. You might have to deal with a few tears and several concerned looks from those standing around. But if you don't care, this is probably the most effective of my suggestions. You will see people have scattered from your presence. So So concern number 3 is the strange food obsessions in Utah. So let's start with fry sauce. Utahns love their fry sauce. It's a delicious mix of ketchup and mayo. It's so beloved that you'll find it at almost every restaurant. Trust me, once you try it, you'll never go back to plain ketchup. Simplest form, fry sauce is just a combination of ketchup and mayonnaise. Other versions will include pickle juice, lemon juice, vinegar to give it a little bit of a tang, and my kids' favorite is to add some barbecue sauce. You should give it a try. It is best with burgers and fries, but don't limit yourself to just that. Then there's the obsession with all things sweet. Treats are a must in the Utah culture. You will find some kind of baked goods about every few blocks. I don't know if there are more church buildings or baked goods shops in Utah. Many of these little shops also have flavored drinks. Since there is a large number of Utahns that don't drink alcohol, which I will address later in this video, you may see that there is a huge passion with soda and soda mixes. Then there's the Jell-O obsession. Utah is the Jell-O capital of the world. Yes, that's right. Green Jell-O with carrots is actually a thing here. It's quirky and it's funny, but it makes for great conversation at a potluck. Potluck is also common in Utah. That's where you bring your own meat and a side dish to share. Funeral potatoes are another popular one. It's normal and typical in Utah to hold a luncheon at a local church on the day of the funeral service of a loved one. If given the opportunity, the members of the local church will provide lunch for the family the day of the funeral service. The lunch will often include funeral potatoes. Funeral potatoes are a dish with cut up potatoes covered in cheese, sour cream, cream of chicken soup. Sometimes they might have onions. They might have added breadcrumbs on top or even crushed potato chips. There will also be a variety of salads, maybe even a Jell-O version. One of the weirdest flavors that we like is marshmallows, pistachio Jell-O pudding, pineapple, and Cool Whip. The meat is typically ham or shredded pork. That's pretty normal, right? They will include a roll and some kind of, you got it, dessert. The local community will set up and maybe include some tablecloths and even a small decor on each table. They will also help clean up. If you are not associated with the local religious group and you feel you need local support, you will likely find it by reaching out to the nearest neighbor that you have identified as being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or another local church community in the area. Utah is number 1 in charitable acts and donations. Most communities are anxious to lend a helping hand. If you really want to see how far they are willing to go, you might even ask them to help you clean out the loved one's house who has passed. You could then find free labor to move heavy furniture, take loads to the local donation centers, of which one is called Deseret Industries. Deseret Industries is run by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Deseret Industries is a nonprofit thrift store and donation center. It was established in 1938 to be a job training facility. Deseret Industries is a dynamic corporation that is a nonprofit organization that trains employees. It's a place where people learn new skills and reach their goals. So the name Deseret Industries, which is better communicated through the overall mission of the organization, is evoked by the symbolism of the honeybee and signifying industry. Also, Utah is the honeybee state. So DI thrift stores are like the well-known Goodwill Industries. They are generally located in areas where there is a large population of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with a total of 46 stores in Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, Texas, Utah, and Washington. So concern number 4 is the unique liquor laws. The active members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints do not drink alcohol or coffee. Since there is a large population of members, the alcohol laws in Utah have generally been very strict. Utah liquor laws can be a bit different. For example, you can't buy full-strength beer in a grocery store. It could be an adjustment. You might be shocked to find that there's no wine selection at Costco in Utah. Utah state liquor stores higher ABV beer, wine, and liquor are available at Utah's 41 liquor stores, which are generally open Monday through Saturday from 11 to anywhere between 5 and 10 p.m., depending on the location. So please note that these stores are closed on Sunday. Liquor, wine, and beer are available at licensed restaurants and bars every day of the week. Alcoholic beverages service in a licensed restaurant requires that food be ordered with the drink. So it's against the law to drink or possess alcoholic drink in a vehicle, whether you are the driver or the passenger. Similarly, it is against the law to sit in a car with an alcoholic beverage, even if the car is stopped or parked. 2 states are stricter than Utah, Kansas and Tennessee. So they're actually almost entirely dry by default. Counties specifically must authorize the sale of alcohol in order for it to be legal and subject to state liquor control laws. But don't worry, you will still be able to get your alcohol. Just you've got to get used to the new rules. The coffee shops don't seem to be suffering and are plentiful. That shouldn't be as much of a concern. Although you might find that they have many more options of fruit drinks, smoothies, and treats to draw in a larger Utah crowd. Concern number 5 is the climate. Utah is said to have all 4 seasons, which can be a big change if you've lived in a place like California. But think of it as getting to experience a little bit of everything. Snowy winters, colorful falls, blossoming springs, and sunny summers. So they say, what you will find these days is that fall and spring have all but disappeared. It snows in April when you should be enjoying a nice spring breeze. And it isn't surprising when there's snow at the end of October when you are trying to enjoy the color changing of the leaves. You will find that you are either too hot or too cold. It can drive you mad. Trying to figure out how to set your heating and cooling temperature to keep your home comfortable is quite the feat. There is this crazy game that you have to play. You leave for work. When you get home, the house is 10 degrees hotter than when you left. You had the heat on because the night before you were freezing. Now you are so hot you can't stand it. So you turn on the AC, and by the time the house finally cools and the weather has changed again, you go to bed fine, but you wake up freezing. Then you turn the heat back on. Don't even get me started about the wind. Just watch any of my outside videos and you will see the effects of the wind. It is a constant battle. Utah's temperatures are extreme, with cold temperatures in winter due to its elevation and very hot summers statewide. January can get to an average of 30 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get as cold as like 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and you should be expected on occasion in some areas of the state. July is typically the hottest. In July, the averages range from about 85 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the low humidity and the high elevation typically lead to larger temperature variations. So, cool nights on most summer days. You may find that your skin is dry and possibly itchy in Utah due to the climate. So, concern number 6 is Utah's drivers. Something you will need to understand about Utah is the driving. Utahns don't seem to think that snow or heavy rain is any sort of reason to slow down. The truth is that with or without snow tires, you will need to learn to cautiously drive in the elements. Utah seems to have one of the only speeds of high. You can be driving in the fast lane at 85 miles an hour and someone will whip around you and give you some not so nice hand gesture as if you were putting along. If anyone dares to crawl at a low speed on the freeway, it's grounds for elimination. All right, okay, not really, but you will fear for your life a little. When my brother was a teenager, he was driving along at a cautious speed. Well, the driver behind him didn't like that because they were on a 2-lane road. So he sped around my brother, passing him on this double-lane road. Granted, it was a solid line. Then after he was driving in front of him, he slammed on his brakes, causing my brother to rear end him. And it was all sorts of crazy when he got out of the car, screaming and yelling about bleep, bleep, bleep young drivers. And then he looked at his car damage and said, since he was in a good mood, really, that he was going to forgive my brother and not sue him. My brother was young and inexperienced. He was overwhelmed and completely bewildered. The whole experience was traumatic. It's just confusing when you see how the nicest people on earth treat you if you challenge the speed limit by driving too slow. So concern number 7 is the grid system. Utah's grid system is a system of roads and addresses that use a defined grid to assign addresses and govern land sales. This drives some people crazy. I think once you understand how it works, it'll actually be a helpful system. Most roads in Utah run perpendicular to each other, either north and south or east and west. Included on names, roads are usually numbered based on how many blocks they are from Center Street, Main Street, or State Street. So the grid system is central to land sales and influences many development patterns. For example, in Salt Lake City, Brigham Young established the grid system 3 days after the first Pioneers Company arrived in the state. Temple Square was at the center of the grid. Street names were based on their distance and direction from the temple, with streets around the temple named North Temple, South Temple, East Temple, and West Temple. Streets further from the temple counted by hundreds and were accompanied by the directions such as 100 South, 200 South, and so on. This design was intended to help people know how far they were from the city's spiritual center. On a side note, you might get a kick out of some of Utah's city names. Some city names are just plain fun to say. How about a trip to Spanish Fork or Bountiful? Then there are a few of my favorite street names. How about Bitsy Drive in Magna, or Glass Slipper Road in Sandy, or maybe even Wimpy Way in Midvale? Yeah, I think sticking with the grid system would be best. Moving on to concern number 8, which is the cost of living in the housing market. While Utah can be more affordable than California, it's quickly becoming less and less economical to live in Utah. In 2020, the median home value was just under $523,000, and the median income was just over $37,000 per individual in the household. Median household income was just under $87,000. The average household income was $111,000 per the U.S. Census Bureau. Utah ranks number 12 in the nation for the highest homeownership, which is 69% of the residents owning their own home. 80% of Utah's population is actually concentrated in the Wasatch Front area, which is the north central part of the state. The expansion is difficult due to the mountains on the east and the Utah Lake on the west. In most recent years, building has started to go up. What I mean is literally like up, not just in price, but taller, high-rise condos. There are many more condos and townhomes being built to accommodate the growing population. They've done studies to better adapt the coming changes, taking into account pollution, traffic, affordability. One of the biggest solutions is to allow large parking lots to be rezoned so that a builder can add new condos or townhomes. The idea is to keep the new residents in walking distance of stores and public transportation. The hope is to influence less driving and more walkable living. Home prices have almost doubled over the past decade. This has brought up a lot of concerns of continued homeownership. It is common to have a conversation with a parent who will say, I just don't know how my children are ever going to afford a home. The good news is that as wages start to catch up with the rising house prices, the younger generation will be fine. My parents paid $23,000 for their first home. I paid $176,000. My children will likely pay closer to $400,000, and on it goes. I love the saying, where there is a will, there is a way. Concern number 9 is the outdoor lifestyle. If you are not used to the outdoors and having an outdoor-centric lifestyle, run. Like, not literally, because if you're not an outdoor type, you probably don't run, but like figuratively, like you will want to run away. Don't move to Utah. With so many parks, trails, and recreational activities, you will be surrounded by outdoor nuts. If you hate the outdoors and would rather avoid nature, you will hate Utah. The mountains are everywhere. You will constantly be pulled into conversations about the great trails and the parks in the area. Everyone will be sharing with you their latest adventure. They will want to share with you the best ski areas. They will tell you all about their latest local finds. You will even be pulled into their phone so that they can show you pictures. By the time the conversation ends, you will know all 6 of their children's names and their 4 grandbabies' names as well. The names will be so strange that you will be completely distracted, wondering where they came up with such strange names. The names will be something like Jovi, Brindy, Hadley, Ainsley, Bentley, Swayze, Wiley, Kingsley, Beckham, Benson, Bowie, Jagger, Kennedy, or Presley. All will be uniquely spelled and very confusing. If you're not a people person and you could care less about being in the great outdoors, you might find yourself bored and annoyed. If you need some tactics on how to avoid these conversations, please refer back to concern number 2, where I expertly provide a number of ways to avoid overly friendly people in Utah. So to wrap things up, now that you know the top 9 reasons that you might want to avoid Utah, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Moving to Utah is an adventure filled with quirky charm and new beginnings, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. If you have questions or if you need advice, don't hesitate to reach out. Remember, if you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and I will be happy to help you make a smooth move to Salt Lake City, Utah, and surrounding suburbs. Until next time, I hope to see you in the Beehive State.